Hey, what's up, you guys? Bloody Jacob here to give you my thoughts on Madam Web. Now, this is sort of a hot topic of the internet, sort of not. I went in with very, low expectations. I too am kind of tired of these, Sony comic book films, from the Venom movies to, Morbius. Um, the first Venom and Morbius I thought were okay. I didn't care for Venom 2. So I'm kind of like wondering what the point of this one is going in. But that being said, I honestly enjoyed Madam Web and liked it a little bit more than I was expecting. Now I went in just purely wanting to watch it for Sydney Sweeney in the upper left corner there. I think she is a great kind of rising talent. Um, but obviously, they've done something very different than just like the expected Madam Web story that, fans that know her might think they're going for. But the funny thing is, with the internet, you either gotta love something or you gotta absolutely hate something and think it's the worst thing ever made. There's no in between, and if you have an in between or suggest you might like something, then you're lynched for it. And vice versa too. Uh, so it'll be interesting to see. I know I'm very much in the minority here. Um, Now, I'm not saying it's like a great movie, but I also don't really fully buy into like the extreme negative reactions. Is it really the worst comic book movie ever out of everything? One of the worst movies ever, literally. Really? Like, come on. It's like anything like new or recent that comes out, it has to be, again, one extreme or the other. And I always find that kind of hilarious, just because people kind of want to be in the moment and sort of have that clicky attention, sort of statements with it. Uh, and that being said, it's not exactly what you're expecting, to a point anyway. Uh, it honestly feels I'd classify it more as like a psychological action thriller before a comic book movie. It has a flavor in that, of course, and it kind of sets up for things that are kind of more in that ballpark. But on its own here, it again honestly leans more into just being like a psychological action thriller with sort of like that dash of sort of comic booky elements and looks at points, I guess. And I was really actually into that approach. It kept me fairly engaged throughout. Dakota Johnson, I haven't seen too much personally. I haven't seen the 50 Shades movies, but I'm aware she's done more than that. Peanut Butter Falcon, Social Network, uh, El Royale, and stuff like that. All of which I'm kind of interested in seeing. You guys know how I feel about Sydney Sweeney at this point. She's really good here. Sort of playing against type, from like the public perception of her at the moment. Actually being kind of like the reserved one of the group. Isabella Merced on the right, on the upper right there, I think was really, she impressed me a bit in the movie too. I liked her. O'Connor, I am sorry, I'm not purposely trying to forget her name, but she was pretty good as well in the part. I will say the villain is a little bland, and his motives definitely could have been fleshed out a bit more. Also, Adam Scott is in this movie, who I always like a lot, from Step Brothers, of course, to something like Big Little Lies. He's just a nice presence to have, and yep. But that brings me back to Dakota Johnson, who I think did a decent job. I think she shows talent beyond, again, what most people probably attribute to her with the 50 Shades movies, even though, again, I haven't seen those. I think she made for a fine lead. There's some surprising bits of, decent little dry humor, and I like the group dynamic a lot. Part of it is like a road on the run movie, again, within that like psychological action thriller setup, and I really like the pacing to it, actually. And then when it does sort of, go for more of, where it's leading, I thought the action was pretty good. Visually, I thought it was solid. But yeah, honestly, Madam Web, I liked it. Kill me, shoot me. Um, I really don't see what's so bad about it beyond, people just being upset that there's no like direct Spider-Man stuff in the movie, which again is kind of bizarre. I can agree with that, but taking it as its own, like really, what's so wrong with it? I'm just not like registering. Again, I just think people like to, sort of choose one side or the other because that's what, attracts the most attention. But yeah, I'll catch you guys next time. If I had to rate it, I'd rate it like a, B minus, B, somewhere in there. I would like to see a sequel. I'm not really counting on getting one though because I know it's not doing very well. But I actually thought it was pretty good. Peace.